Welcome everyone. Good morning. Hope you're keeping well. We'll start our lesson. Before starting, please, if you have any questions, you can ask. Anyone any questions? No. Okay. We'll start then. Okay. So those are listening, please. If you have any question, drop me email anjum@ukversity.co.uk and I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. We'll start, please. Today lesson will go through our LO1 and we are starting new unit. Before starting, we'll go through the unit specification, what we're supposed to be like. So we are going to start, the research project and research skill are the vital for the workplace and the academic development. Research skill enables student to identify a problem, collect information, help, address the problem, evaluate the resource, quality, relevance, and come up with the effective solution of the problem. So we can look around. So these seen as the essential skill for employer the most position in the industry to support the range of duties, example of the report writing, building of the business case and business planning, launching a new product. Uh, so this unit, student will be choose their own project based on the theme provided by an Excel person, which will be changed annually. So we'll go through this year's and the project must be related to the specialist pathways study, which will look, the business pathways that are related to that, but it's a topic of the area of discussion, such as the business environment, such as the corporate social responsibility, talent management. So we look, and we will lead and we'll go through accordingly. The aim of this unit is opportunity to engage in a sustainable research, sustainability. Sustainability focus on the three P's, profit, planet, and people. Sustainable. So we can look around sustainable, sustainability, and enable student to demonstrate the capacity. Capacity is the availability to do the research and the research team, how we can set the aims and objective of the research. We'll look, the personal development key skills, how we can, and we reflect at the end, reflection also can be linked. So we have a LO1, LO2. So LO1 examine the appropriate research methodologies, methods, identify those appropriate to the research process. That will go through develop the research proposal in the second. Third, we can analyze the data using appropriate techniques, which I'll go through, and the reflect, the application of the research. That's quite good, which we look. Today lesson key focus will be the different research, including the aims and objective, methodologies, research, what is how we can primary, secondary, aims and objective, different research methodologies, ethics, reliability is very important in research. That all will be in our discussion. So please, if you have any question, feel free. So each lesson will go through one LOs, and after four lessons, we'll look around our research uh, topic and we'll make the research proposal and we'll do the research accordingly and I'll give you all the literature. Okay, we'll start, please. So today lesson is our LO1, learning outcome one, which will look, today lesson. LO1, unit 19, examine appropriate research methodologies, methods, identify appropriate to the research process. That's the key, which we'll look here. The research process, as we mentioned, research methodologies, which we'll go through different research methods and ethics, that will be the key as we discussed. As we mentioned, the aim of this unit to develop the understanding about research and how we can conduct the research. Why we do the research? Just a question. Always look around when we want to do the research. Research due to if we have the problem in the organization, sale drop, people not sustaining, corporate organization not fulfilling their responsibility, are we not retaining the talent? So these are all the related business themes, which we look, when we'll go through the assignment discussion. Okay, the of course, we'll go through this year's topic and we'll look, the theme 2022. That was last, which we look, the further next lesson I'll release that, the unit 19, of course, is a level 5 unit. In the past, that theme was the COVID-19 operation, and this year we look the more talent management, agilities to meet these changes, and how we can achieve the organization's strategic, objectives, strategic reliance for tomorrow. So business take the step well established, the capitalize more effective opportunity due to the research and how we can look around. So research question, which we look, the research question, the range of topic discuss testing the business opportunity, the crisis management plan, integrated response to the recovery initiative, example of disaster recovery planning model, we can look around the roadmap. This was after the COVID-19. Now we look, this year's topic and we look, accordingly. And if you have, please, any question, feel free, always ask, so we can learn from each other and we can explore. Okay, so always please in your. So always good to be if you want to set up the website called Student Room in the UK, the Student Room, and where you can interact with various, university and colleges student in the UK. It's quite good to be. Objective mean end result, what you want to be achieve, or you want to launch something new, want to develop, understand feasibility and ethics relevant to the research, which will be discussed here. Okay, so key terminologies. What is the research? Research is a systematically process of collecting, analyzing, interpreting the data to answer the specific question or solve the problem. It involves identify the research question or hypothesis. Hypothesis is a research question which we want to test it. Determine and the study to investigate, collecting, analyzing the data, drawing the conclusion based on the research result, and the research can be conducted in the various fields including the science, social science, humanity, and business. Of course, our area is the business management, which we look, the topics and the theme which released by the IDEXIS. The purpose of the research to advocate the knowledge, inform, and practice make the evidence based on the decision. It is important tool for understanding the world and addressing the complex problem. What are the distinction process of the research polite and back in 2004 describe, there are the five phases of any conceptual phase, the design phase, the planning phase, empirical phase, analytical phase, and dissemination phase, which is mean disseminate, all the information which you collected to the formation of the working hypothesis, preparation of the research design, collecting the data, analyzing the data, and drawing up the conclusion. And okay, we can please let's spend 5 minutes, please, stopping and start. So let's please watch this video. Okay, guys, let's please spend few minutes. So as you watch the video and you seen the process, how we can structure and then objective, we can set it introduction chapter. So top, the five processes which we can. Can you hear me all? Yes. Okay. Just please, if you can, if any questions, please you carry on asking. So top five phases of the process: formation of the working hypothesis. A hypothesis is the penetrating hunch, the guess, providing explanation of the problem under the study. So this is the found basis of the preliminary observation of the facts and related the problem. So brief, the problem is stated the form of the proposition. If then hypothesis serve is the tentative explanation which can be tested empirical and guide the researchers in the selection of the pertinent fact needed to be explained the problem at hand. And here is one thing to be noted: the hypothesis not need to be in at all research. Some researchers develop the hypothesis as the end of the research as a preliminary inquiry, which can be, we can look around and develop the hypothesis as the end result of the preliminary inquiry for the further testing. That can be, which we can look around the pre- preparing the research design. A research design is the detailed plan or the strategy of conducting research. It's answer the question what, how, when, where, and why about the research. Yes, so it is the process of making decision, the type of the data required, the source of the data required, the method of data collection we use, interviews or question or the sample design, what will be. So these, which we can look around and we can collect the data, we can design. Okay, anyone, any question, please? So five phases which can look around: formulation, the hypothesis, preparation, which we mentioned the points, and then we can look around collecting the data. Actual gathering the data, which we can use the Google form. We have the other data analyzing tool is Power BI, which is quite good, Microsoft Power BI, which I'll just go through as well with you. So by collecting the data and the researcher tested the hypothesis, which is the main ultimately accept the chain and abandon. Any analysis of the data after, like you can use different statistic tool like mean, median, mode, and arithmetic means, and the mode, standard deviation, correlation, we can look around descriptive statistic, which we can look around. Research can be fact become a meaningful when logically connected with the other facts and according to the nature and the broadly step of the scientific research include the coding, classification, tabulation, gather the data, and these days much of this work is done by the computer, and the computer gives the desired computation and comparison including the data. Drawing up the conclusion, the step focus interpreting, examining the data and coming up with the conclusion and the solve the problems and make, that's why it's very important subject nowadays, business analytics. Yes, how you can interpret the data. So first step is review your research plan, organize your finding information you have collected, create your rough draft of the finding, recommendation, and conclusion, and help you to get, and polish the rough draft and final research finding. That is quite crucial. And report the research finding and then draw the recommendation for future. The final step is the research finding is those, need the data to be made. The see and the finding is presented comprehensive form of the dissertation report are oral and should be made, management using the table, figures, graph, enhance the clarity. The secondary data from inform the primary data collection. Secondary data is the refer to the data all is being collected and analyzed by someone else. Like if you go on the website ONS, which is called Office of National Statistics, the website is this system. So it's quite good if you want to collect the data about social media, growth of social media. So quite good website which you can look around, the what's happening during that or what we are expecting the growth of the social media in future. So please, if you I can download all the graphs through the library login if you want to average how much time the people spending on the social media. So that's give you quite good indication. And in future plan, if you want to use the social media for advertising, you can as well. Okay, other website is ONS. If your UK-based ONS is Office of National Statistics, like if you want to look around some statistics like inflation, GDP, and that's also quite good facts and figures which you can embed. That all the secondary data is the cost-effective, efficient. Primary data collection if the researcher again inside with themselves. It can be observation method. Secondary is the data which is already being and collected to identify the gap in knowledge. Secondary data can be used to identify the gap in existing knowledge and which can be guide the collecting the primary data for research and might be used the secondary data to identify the group, understanding the particular population phenomena and the design the primary data and collecting methods and address these gaps. So with that is quite crucial. Refinement of the research questions. Secondary data can be helped, refine the research question by providing the better understanding context, of the research problem. For example, the researcher might use the secondary data to understand the historical, social, economical factors that have contributed the research problem, which can be refine the research, the question. Selection of the research method. Secondary data can be help to select the appropriate the research method by providing insight, the strength and the limitation of the research. For example, the researcher might use the secondary data to identify which research method have been effective in the similar study, which can be guide the selection and the method and the primary data collection comparison of the finding. Secondary data can be used to compare the finding of the primary data collection, existing research, which can provide the bias and evaluating. So that can be lower, and we can look around explorative, descriptive, and casual research approaches. Exploratory research, this approach is used when the researcher is not sure the research question, limited knowledge of the topic of exploratory research used to gain the better understanding about the research problem and generate new ideas or hypotheses. Descriptive research, if the research is used when the researcher want to describe or measure the characteristic of the population phenomenon. Descriptive research is the research question, how many, what are the characteristics. The data collection method is the descriptive research is quantitative and include the surveys, experiment, and we can use SPSS software, which is quite popular, given by the Microsoft, which we'll discuss in the following lesson. Casual research, the research is used when the researcher want to be establish the cause and effect relationship between variables. Cause research is used, to answer the question what causes, what is the fact, and how does X affect Y, and the data collection method is used. Casual research as usually experimental, and the researcher manipulate, one variable, the independent variable, and observe its effect another variable and dependent variable. It's important to note that these are the approaches are not mutually exclusive, and the researcher can use the combination of these approaches depending upon the research question and the variable. Thus, we need to be research methodologies. Positivism or intervism are the two different philosophical approaches of the research that underpin the different research methods. And the positivism is the deductive approach that emphasizes the use of the object and weigh the data and seek the established causal relationship between the variables. It's the positivist research that the researchers start with the theory of the hypothesis, then test, through the collection and analyze the empirical data and the methodologies associated with the positivism is often, quantitative with an emphasis on the experimental design, the survey and statistic analysis. Interpretivism, which is an inductive approach that emphasizes that the subjective nature and the human experience and seek to understand the meaning of the context behind the social phenomena. It can be contextualized the theory and practice, and we can look around the researchers, start with the data and develop the theory and interpretation based on the observation and the analysis. So we can look around the methodology that's associated into, then often is a qualitative data, which is mean opinions, not the numbers, emphasis on the methods such as interviews, case studies, and some of other methodologies are commonly associated with the philosophical approaches. Quantitative research is the research methodology that's typically associated with the positivism, involve the use of the numerical data, which can be analyzed using the statistical methods to establish the relationship between variables. Qualitative the research methodology that is typically associated with interpretivism, which is involved, in the collection and numerical data, observation, interviews, studies, and the data. Thus, mixed method of the research can be, this is the research methodology that can be combined both quantitative and qualitative, and the single study and the strength, both, the approaches provide a complete understanding. Ultimately, the choices of the research methodology depends on the research question, available data, philosophy, the conceptual framework of ideas, philosophies, and approaches, and the concept. So, conceptual framework of the research is that interconnected ideas of the philosophies and approaches and the concept, and provide the basis of understanding conducting research. The framework which we can and look around the theoretical exemption. Some of the key component of the conceptual research is include the research question, hypothesis. That's quite good to be hypothesis being the research focus on the research and help to guide the selection of the research method you will use, the quantitative, qualitative, yes, primary or secondary data collection tools, which one you will use, interviews, Google Form or whatever. And theoretical perspective is the refer to the underlying the exemption, the concept, and the shape the research. It include the ideas, philosophies, and the theories, the range of disciplines, social, psychological, economy, theoretical perspective, and provide the research variable. These are the factors that are the research seek to the measure, investigate, variable independent, the factor that is being manipulated, and which we can look around the data collection methods, its tools and techniques used to collect the data for the research and include the method of the survey interview. Data analysis method, which we can analyze the data based on quantitative methods such as statistic analysis, qualitative methods such as thematic analysis, which we can look around. Conceptual framework, which is provide the roadmap for the research and help, the look around, ensure the research is conducted rigorous and the systematic way, and help, the research is the relevant and use of the connecting. So we can look around qualitative and quantitative methods. Quantitative and the qualitative research method are the two broad categories of the research that is used to collect and analyze the data. Qualitative is research involved the collecting and analyzing the non-numerical data such as text, images, and observation, and gain the deeper understanding of the phenomena. We can look around the qualitative methods used, to explore about the complex social issues. We can look around the some of the common qualitative interviews involved through the conversation with the participants. Focus group involved the collecting the data through the group discussion with the participant focus group, and believe observation method. This involved the collecting the data by observing the regardless behaviors. Observation can be structured, unstructured, and can be done in person or remotely. The case studies involve the collecting the data about the specific individual group and organization, and the case study. Quantitative research, which we can look around the quantitative research, is collecting, analyzing the numerical data such as statistics, yes, test hypothesis, the relationship between the variable. Quantitative methods are being used cause and effect relationships. Survey can be used collecting the data through standardized set of the question, administrative, such as the participation survey conducted in person, remotely, or can be administrative online or the phone. Experiment, yes, in manipulating or different variable effect, depend variable experiment can be conducted through the laboratories or in field. And the content analysis involve, analyzing the contents and written visual material, identifying the pattern and the relationship. The content analysis is used to explore media's representation and the public, and the secondary data is involved, in analyzing the data and previously being collected and the secondary data which we can look around. So mixed method can be approaches include the limitations, provide comprehensive understanding about the research problem, required expertise for quantitative and qualitative method, increase the validity and reliability of the research, and allow versions of the data, and they can be conceptual, yes, and capture both breadth and the depth of the data and provide opportunities. So guys, baby, whatever you do really for the research, you want quantitative, you want qualitative, you want to be, so it's quite good to be look around the research onion model, which is quite good, which will look in the mixed method. You can look around end of the day, whatever method you use, you really need to be look around the research objective what you want to be achieved. Associated tools and techniques and the focus group, quantitative research, interviews, focus group observation, case studies. Associated tools, semi-structured, structured, unstructured interview, group discussion, participant observation, non-participant observation, in-depth analysis, individual. Associated tool, questionnaire, structure, the web surveys, and the survey monkey can be use the Google form, Microsoft form, and various others, the tools can be used to collect the data and roadmap and control and the trial and the experiment that can be. So guys, next week, which we'll go through when we'll look, I'll teach you how to create a Google form as well. So ethics and the reliability and validity. Always when you do ethics mean the moral principle. Don't ask the question like young kids or those that have a sound mind and asking any personal nature information or need to be any biased information or create the conflict. We can want to be look the research but conducting in an ethical manner. Every university and colleges have the ethical form, to look around like testing on animals and all, that can create sometimes the huge ethical issues. Ethics are the important for the several reasons. Is the protection of the human object. Ethics ensure the right and the safety and welfare of the human object. Protect during the research include the obtain informed content, maintain the confidentiality, minimize the potential harm, discomfort to anyone. So ensuring the scientific integrity, ethics ensure the ethics is conducted rigorously, honest manner, and the data and the result is not falsified or manipulated. The maintain the public trust, the ethic of the research being conducted, transparent, fair, and accountable help to maintain the public interest. That is very important. Some of the key ethical consideration we can look around informed consent. A researcher must, obtain the informed consent for the participation, meaning, must be clear, understand information, look around the risk, and how we can minimize the risk opportunity of the question validity and confidentiality. This must, we have a data protection GDPR as well. So we not declare to the third party the consent. We can only researcher can say, this is we are doing for the sake of to meet the requirement, any qualification or any other objective of the research clearly indicate the respondent. Minimize the harm of the researcher must be step, to minimize any potential harm, discomfort to participant. Data management researcher must, the data responsible to ensure collected and analyzed ethically and transparent manner. And ethical research is a critical ensure that conducted responsible and ethical manner and right and welfare of the participant. Reliability in the research and the degree which is the research and methods and the potentially consistent with the research. Reliability of the research refer to the degree to which the research method is produced, consistent and repeatable, which reliability is important of the research because ensure the data is collected and accurate and trust. There are the several ways to assess the reliability of the data. Test with retest, reliability, how much, yes, test and then retest it, different times, different. Like if you want to be looked on the customer service quality, customer satisfaction and loyalty in any supermarket, and try to be collect the data, test it and retest it. Yes. So not one time. Interrelated, reliability, parallel form of reliability. So these different method of retesting, and checking the reliability, internal consistency. The method involves assessing the reliability with a single test. And guys, that's really the crucial which we need to be. It is important noted the reliability is important for the research, is not other factors to be considered. Validity is referred to the degree to which the research method measure the intent to measure and create the critical, ensuring the accurate and trustworthy result. So in summary, we can say the reliability and research refer to the degree which research method produce consistent, repeatable result, and there are the several ways to assess the reliability and validity of the research. Yes, so we really need to be look around the whole objective of the research, critically ensure the accurate and trustworthy. Validity of the research as extended which the research measures. Validity research is referred to the extent with the method is measured. Suppose validity is important of the research because ensure the data is collected is accurate, represent all the population. If you're collecting the sample size will look be consistent. Content, validity is need to be represent, all the aspect of the construct. The reliability assess, examining the item of the questioning or criteria. Validity, the criteria which you use, that should be validated. Criterion validity is assessed by the comparing the score of different and other measures, and then look around which one is the best. Construct the validity referred to the construct liability is usually assessed by the examining how the score can be measured related the score. Internal validity, the reports, because the internal inherent and won't be risk, independent variable rather than the facts which we need to be. Internal validity is often assessed by the controlling, confounding variables. Yes, that is quite crucial. External validity, yes, referred to the external validity is often assessed by the examining the sample used, study and evaluating how well the respondents population interest, and assessing the validity in the research important because it's ensure the data is collected is accurate, trustworthy. So few things is a bit reputation, but we need to be think about. So today lesson we learn about different methodologies. We discuss about in deductive, inductive approach. We mention primary, secondary. We discuss about quantitative, qualitative, and we discuss about ethics, and we discuss about why hypothesis, what is meant by why we need to, and how we can test, descriptive in casual call and effect research and different why we do the research. That all was in our discussion. And the next lesson will go through LO2. Thanks for attending to the lesson. Hope I'll speak to you all during our next lesson. Thank you. Bye bye.